Good morning. Time to pack up. Just starting here. Got some rain last night for a couple hours, under lightning a bit, but then it cleared up and was able to take some video of the stars. Just heading down to the water for a moment. It's a beautiful day. And just like that, we're done. Taking off in about a minute here. Goodbye to Circlet Lake. It was a nice visit, only for a couple days. We'll be checking in along the trail. Well, I got away around 10 or so. Probably about 4 to 5 hours to get to the parking lot. I'm gonna go take the route through Quai and then eventually to Battleship. I know most just sort of do an out and back near Lady Mackenzie, but I find this other route, especially on the way back, is more scenic and doesn't go through. It has some rooty sections, but it's not nearly as rooty as that one backside of Lady Mackenzie. I usually do Mackenzie sort of out because it's a little faster. This route that I'm taking is, I think, an extra 1.5 kilometers, and it still has a rise and so on it, but overall it's a much more enjoyable trek. Plus I don't really like out and backs too much. Turn off. Here's the turn off to Quai parking lot. About 10 kilometers that way. Alternatively, you can go to Lady Mackenzie, which is the way we came back. But we're going to go through some meadows around this route and mostly skirt that real rooty stuff around Lady Mackenzie Lake. As I said, we'll hit a little bit, but not nearly as much. Alright, 10 kilometers and 2 kilometers to Quai. Let's go. Here's a small rooty section on this stretch. There's a hill climb later, but this is really I think the worst of it when it comes to routes. So relatively good compared to Lady Mackenzie. Quite nice in here. Looking back, you can see Albert Edward barely in the background there. Our rooty section is mostly past now. This area can get a little swampy if heavy rain. I know I've gone through here when it's been almost a river running down these trails, but right now, this time of year, it's usually pretty reliably good. So we're here, and we came from here. So you could connect right over there to the Lake Helen Mackenzie Trail. That's this one here. Instead, though, I'm going to continue on to Crow Lake through Murray Meadows, which is quite nice, around Lady Lake, Goso Lake, and finally Battleship Lake. This stretch in here can get a little tiring. This just seems a long walk, but yeah, it's a nice trip that seems to avoid most of the ups and downs except for one. So we're gonna keep going, turning to our right. I've only stayed at Kauai one time, a long time ago now. I remember I was with a friend of mine who's from a bigger city, and he was mesmerized by the stars at night. You could see the Milky Way. I think his first time seeing it, actually. But yeah, I just stayed outside and looked at the night sky. It was so dark and picturesque. So it's not too bad to get here from the parking lot. But there's a swimming pool. There's a Lake Marywood, I think, just down the way, which I think you can swim in. I've never done it, actually. And Grushank Canyon access is around here too. So that's a very common jumping off point for a lot of different hikes. And of course, some will go all the way up to Albert Edward from here. As with Circlet, they have all the amenities. Bear cache, washroom, gray water station, I believe. But you can't swim in the lake. And one reason I always go to Circlet is there's nothing more refreshing coming off that mountain than to be able to jump in the lake afterwards. So, not usually coming out here. Well, as promised, here's the one major incline along this route. Just going up over the top of a short, or a small ridge, and entering into Circlet Lake area, which is right basically at the top. But in order to get there, we have to do a few switchbacks. Trail isn't so rooty, a little bit, but not a lot. Fairly easy to navigate. It's just, for me anyways, taking my time. My legs being a little tired still from Mount Edward yesterday, and the hike out, the pack and all that. But once you get to the top of this, it's all good. Well, here we are at Circlet Lake. Bit of a climb, not pretty small relatively speaking, but it was a bit of a climb. And you can't camp individually on this lake, but they do have group camping. We'll show you the building at the other side. I don't think you can swim, but yeah. And for those in the know, it's also when you may get some cell phone service briefly. The last sign said 6.2 kilometers to the trailhead, so about halfway or so. This is a relatively easy stretch though. Trail is pretty well trodden, not a lot of major ups and downs. Gets a little tiring at times actually. This feels like you want it to end. The last few kilometers are on boardwalks at Paradise Meadows. We're going to be walking by Battleship Lake, which is a pretty nice swimming lake. But yeah, shouldn't take us too much longer now, maybe an hour and a half at this point, maybe an hour 45. So yeah, I'll be showing some videos along the way. Cheers. Here's the connector to Lady Mackenzie. A couple days ago when we stopped there, many people will take the lakeshore in the opposite direction we went, and eventually they'll end up here. Right here. And then from this point they're going to follow the same route that we're going to follow. So looks like 3.94 kilometers left from this point. We were all the way up here. Camped here, turned off here, Quai, Coteau, Lady Lake. We've been beside Battleship for a bit. And now we're going to be entering Paradise Meadows. So continue to join me on this journey. We're almost done. Parking lot in, say, 3.5 kilometers. Cheers. We're in the full home stretch now, just over 1 kilometer until the parking lot. All this area is very accessible. Paradise Meadows is generally boardwalked, so it's easy to get around, even if you have some mobility challenges. For us, it's a marker that we're almost back. Another 10-15 minutes from now. Distance will be almost 12 kilometers from Circlet, and yeah, it'd be nice to take this back off, take the shoes off, and rest up a bit. It's a beautiful day out today. Not overly hot. Not all the rain we got rid of last night. Now we just have the drive home. We'll check in as we get closer to the trailhead. But for now, I'll show you some sights around Paradise Meadows. Very beautiful, even just for a day trip. There's Mount Washington ahead of us. These are the meadows that certain times of year will flower out very nicely. Snow stays here quite late in the season, so you won't usually see much here until July, late June type of thing. Once it's there, it's quite beautiful. All right, we're gonna keep going on this boardwalk. All right, we're at Raven Lodge, finishing up this journey. So just yesterday, we were on top of this mountain here, almost 10,000 meter elevation change to go up that day. Overall for this trip, I'm guessing maybe 33 to 35 kilometers. I won't know the elevation change yet. 2 nights at Circlet, swimming, Lady Helen Mackenzie, Lake, Kauai, Albert Edward obviously. A lot of hiking. But good. The weather's been very cooperative this whole time. So, thank you for joining me on this journey. We'll put better stats up after I take a look at everything. Today was about 3.5 hours to come in, 12.5 kilometers from Circlet. So, a pretty good day. Now, time to relax at home and dry the gear and have a good dinner. Catch you later.
Yes, nice to meet you, Darryl. Yeah. Yes.